to the Ohana Mons. So that red circle is where the entrance was to to the military hangar base. And to fly there, if you were going to go by the Okator crater, it's the same route. I found this out after the fact. I remember so in 2016, the Dawn probe was on its way to Ceres, and everybody, there was a big buzz. They thought they were cities, white spots. And what are the white spots? I got asked because I was already on the record and I was dealing with researchers. I wasn't public yet. And what are the white spots? I said, that's a geyser. I remember flying over it. I remember we flew from left to right. And like I said, that works out. That was our route home. So that I found that out after the fact. But there was a geyser that goes off randomly every 6 to 9 years, and the water evaporates into space, and the salt snows back down at different speeds. It's beautiful. It was about 11 kilometers in there. The scale is wrong. That crater is like 54 miles wide. But in 2016, when the Dawn probe got there, and NASA originally said it was sulfur and a cocktail of other minerals. It was anything but salt. And a researcher got a hold of me and said, "Do you want to retract your statement, Tony?" So NASA is going to confirm what it is in a little while. You're still saying it's salt. They're saying that it's probably not salt. And I said, absolutely not. If there's one thing I remember, we made jokes about it. We talked about it at length up there. That's salt. I said, that's meters deep of salt over millions of years of that geyser going off. And it wasn't until 4 years later, in August of 2020, that NASA, the Dawn probe, had gone to a lower altitude and confirmed that it was briny salt. So does it prove aliens and all that? No, but I'm building a case. And this was one of the best ones. That morning of August 10th, I was running late. I spilled coffee on myself. I was getting out the door, and my my phone started lighting up. You were right. You were right all along, Tony. And it was I had been under heavy attack. And I'm telling you right now, everybody in this room, for you to just take what I'm saying and believe me verbatim, it'd be weird if you did, right? The idea is that I'm presenting this information, you can run with it and look for yourself what's going on. I'm not the only one that's reported being taken for 20 years and put back. There are many of us. There are thousands of us. So I'm just putting it out there for that. But I'll tell you what, I sure have taken some on the chin saying this stuff. And that day I stood tall. There's the cargo ship I got promoted to. I got promoted to cargo engineer, and that thing had 3 engines on it. It could go instantly to about a third of the galaxy, and it could go instantly to about 18 close galaxies by using the natural portal of Terran space-time that exists in between large planets. And it could go A to B very fast. It could go maybe an AU an hour. So 4 hours to Earth from Ceres on most of the time. I was we went to Diego Garcia, and we picked up cargo there in the middle of the night quite often. And it fits. That thing was about 1,000 feet long. And we would pick up cargo, military cargo, and take it to Ceres. Everything you could think of. People always ask, what were you guys shipping? We took everything. It turns out that a lot of our plant life is tradable with other worlds. Coffee to us is a narcotic to them, and vice versa. So a lot of the plant medicine, pharmaceuticals are a big trade throughout. Knowledge is a big trade. So our mission was not to seek out new life and new civilization. Our mission was to trade for technology by any means necessary. We robbed and warred with other worlds to take their technology, and that's the way it is up there. Nature extends beyond the sky. It's not kumbaya in space. You can walk through the woods and you can come across a fuzzy critter that you could pet and be your friend, or you could come across a cat with fangs. And space is the exact same thing. Nature extends beyond the sky. The relationship between species, and 7 out of 10 stars has an Earth around it. 7 out of 10 when you look up. That's how often there are as a civilization. And every star is inhabited with somebody. There's a can or a hole with somebody in it. It's teeming with life. It's teeming with intelligent life. Trillions of species can access us and go home. So that's why the extraterrestrial phenomenon, if you look at it from the eyes, the lens of a researcher, it's gibberish. When you look at one person, they say, I was taken by this, and the other one says it was an angel that did this, it was built, blessed me. both were true. So trillions of different species at different levels of evolution, different levels of technology, and for different reasons can interact with us because we did with them. And we were looking for people to exploit. We took goods from the world and never had to pay for it, and we'll take it to space. It's a series.
Explain where Diego Garcia is.
Diego Garcia is funny that it's in the Indian Ocean. And what's that?
Footprint of Freedom.
The footprint of freedom. Well, we made fun of it. We said one of the reasons I remember is because we had I had a manifest of our stops every day. I was the main cargo engineer on the port side of the ship, so I sat in on mission briefings, and we'd have we know our stops, and the guys would always say, "Where are we going next?" And I'd look and I'd say, "It's Diego Garcia." I was like, "That's funny. It's a Spanish name." And the guy, there were a lot of Europeans working, and one guy said, "No, that's not a Spanish name. That's an Italian name, Italian first name and a Spanish second name in the Indian Ocean." And we laughed. And then we said, "Well, we're on a German boat going to get American cargo off a Chinese ship at a base with an Italian first name and a Spanish second name in the Indian Ocean." We'd all start laughing. And we carried that on. It got really long over time, that joke. So that's how I remembered it. And Diego Garcia, I got attacked over that too. So somebody publicly said, "No, there's no way," because I remember that they would shut the base down. We went there at like 2, 3 in the morning, and there were only two American officers that would interact with us. The rest of the people on the base had to stay inside their hut or their rooms. It was a lockdown. And somebody said, "I served on Diego Garcia," in a YouTube comment said, "That never happened. Be us." And so about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months after that, I found an article of them saying that very often, Diego Garcia gets locked down and people aren't allowed out in the middle of the night for that reason. So it's because it's a spaceport, and currently it is a Space Force base. So it was immediately taken over and changed over to Space Force when they did it. So it is a spaceport. This is what it looks like. So inside Ceres, they had found a lot of the a lot of the caverns were already built by some other species long ago. So they moved in, the Deutsch culture, European culture, Germans, whatever you want to call them, moved in and started building European-like cities, facsimiles of European cities early, probably in the 1940s and 1950s. And they had these big caverns, and there's big caverns that are full of water. They're always looking for water, and they pump that out, and they start moving into it because space was a premium. This is kind of what it looks like. This is a picture off Google, but that's kind of what it looked like. They were smart cities. You were never more than a 15-minute walk from a train stop, and everything was connected by trains. And you could buy the day pass and go. And I had no idea that Europe was like that until recently. But I remember taking the train. I had a life there. I had a small paycheck. I had girlfriends. I had a life. This is from the movie The Expanse. Long story about that, but they didn't dream this up. They were listening to guys like me. These are AI images and kind of what it looked like. It wasn't Star Trek-y. It was kind of messy in a lot of places. There's a military feel. The hangar bay looked kind of like this. There were ETs. The ships, we didn't build. They were leasing the ships from ETs. So the chassis with the motor and the power source, they lease. They get the chassis and then they put it in a bay like this and have the human system, the water fountains and the bathroom and the galley. They would put all that stuff in there. We did not sleep on the ships. We were home every single day. We would leave and we would come right back. Everything's connected by trains. I think I'm making really good time. Sorry, guys, you're hungry. Yeah. Oh, you want me to slow down? All right. Second book. Our first book was that story that I just told you. It was everything from the beginning, from 10 years old to 30 and then back again. There were a lot of things that didn't make sense, that vague. It's not easy to remember that stuff. And it was only after doing hundreds of interviews, people ask you curveball questions, and I had the answer. Oh, no, that's how it goes. There were a lot of things that I left out of Series Colony Cavalier because at the end I felt like I either need to publish this book now or it's never going to happen. It needs to happen now or never. So Jackie Kenner, my editor, said, "Tony, this is the story you need to tell." And this is more of the spiritual aspect of it and the story of, well, that's kind of the timeline of it. I don't know how much, I don't have the symbol in there, but Project Star Maker was the emblem that is close to that one behind me there. I wrote this book to be intentionally confusing. It's more of the spiritual side of what happened, and it's written in a way that's not linear. The first book is linear and made to be easy to understand. This one is just kind of meant to explain what happened, the spiritual side of it, and it may be the reason why I got my memories back. Thousands, perhaps millions of people have gone through what I've gone through and don't remember it. They remember nightmares. They come back the same way that I came back and didn't remember, and my mom and went down and hugged her. People come back and they're different. So people are, I hear it all the time. Thousands of people have contacted me and said, all of a sudden I started drinking, and I was never into any of that. And I saw a light in my room, and then there was a gray in the hallway, and the next morning I started drinking, and my life is different. And those are the markers that I look for, because they're in 20-year increments. People that I work with, I go, when did it happen? Tell me when. Everybody has these incidents. You saw a ship. How many people saw a ship around here, right? So when? People don't pay attention to when, because they come back at this in a cycle. People, if you're visited, it's never a one and done. Never. It's never a one and done. If you're visited by an ET, because you have to think, for them to travel space, they can also travel time. So for them to take you when you're young, they can put you back and come back 10 years later and just check up on you. They give you their thing, and it's the same day for them. So they go back to 10 years, and then in 10 years, or in 5 years, and 5 years. And that's what I find over and over and over again. I say, when did it happen? When? And people go, I don't know. I was saying, and the more they settle down, there's a bottleneck when they want to tell me everything in 5 minutes. I say, slow down. When? And then I mark it down, and I go, okay, now go on. And they say, this happened. And I add 20 years to it. Most of the time, 60 to 70% of the time, I add 20 years to the intake, right? So they go 95. I go, well, what happened in 2015? And they said, no, well, how'd you know? How'd you know that? That happens all the time. I do it all the time. I do it weekly to people. And they, how'd you know that? Because the ETs have they're coming back 20 years later. The rings of the trees are 20 years. There's a Andrew Bashago was in Project Pegasus, a time travel experiment. They were locked at 20-year increments in the beginning, in the first generation of the technology. They could go back 80 years. They couldn't go back 81. They could go in 20-year increments. You had your hand up. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, the secret space program, is that moving?
Yes. Well, so good question. And this, I'll just say this real quick, that
Question?
she asked, is the secret space program human? Is it humans? And from what I found from all, after I got over 1,000 people, I started charging money, because I'm a wood floor refinisher by trade. Like, that's what I did for 30 years. I'm really working stiff. And after a while, I just didn't have the time to deal with everybody. So many people hit me up. But I grouped everybody into 3 categories. Okay. First category was human-based space programs. So the United States military, Canada, and the UK seem to be in bed together. And people that are abducted in those vicinities have similar experiences. Then there's a global secret space program too, but it's a human-based, but it's a military experience. The second one is an Orion group. So the Greys and the reptilians, they abduct people, and those tend to be horror stories. People that are abducted in those, it's less frequent, but they're terrible. Seriously, it's hard to stomach some of the things I hear from people. The third category is everybody else. So, like I said, trillions of species can access us and go home that day. Space, we've been lied to. We've been programmed to believe that it's a long trip to the next star. The Star Trek, let's engage, and it's 10 hours to get there. It's not like that. It's instantaneous. They can go to another galaxy in a few minutes. And we could set foot with the technology, and we can go from this room to a room on another galaxy on a planet in a few minutes and come home. And that's the frequency of travel. Oh, come on, baby. Come on, baby. So those are the 3 programs. And so that third category of everybody else seems to not be in the vicinity of the United States, the UK, and Canada. In fact, most of the people that contact me for category 3 live in the Southern Hemisphere. In South America, Australia, and India, that area, Asian area. So it seems like the world is cut up into sections of the space programs that have access to take personnel. Somebody asked me, a researcher went on record and said, man, there's no money to pay for all these. Where's the economy for these $1 trillion spaceships? How do these exist? If there's a secret space program with fleets of ships that are $1 trillion each, who's paying for it? So a famous researcher, I was like, I did a thing in San Jose, a tech that I was invited to share the technologies that I witnessed, and it was a ambush, really. But I said, there is no economy. They're not paying you. They don't pay. They just take you and say, we want you to do a job for us. You can live with ETs. You're going to live another 20 years than you would have lived. And we're going to put you back and you'll start over again. And you may get your memories, you might not. Would you take that deal? And a lot of people would. And so they're taking people. It's not $1 trillion for a spaceship. They abduct people and they're working for free for 20 years. How much money would that save to have 1 million people working, a workforce that big? That's the future. That's technology. It's free labor. Go ahead. Yeah. Well, there's children in the room, but yeah. Sorry.
Can you talk a little bit more about how and when your memories started coming back?
Well, sure. Well, like I said, it was April. So it was May. It was like May 10th, May 9th and May 10th. And it all happened in one go. Well, I woke up and I went, oh my God, that is real. I went, oh my God, that happened. And I kind of walked around and I was like, it really had dawned on me. And I became a different person at that point. I was raising my 3 daughters and my wife. I'm Maui. My dad's from Maui, for the Hawaiians.
Oh,
I was in Kula.
how long ago was that? How
That was May of 2015. So 9 years ago is when I had the memory of that. And I got, like I said, I got online and went, oh my God, this isn't real. And I didn't tell anybody for a long time. My wife at the time said, if aliens were real, it'd be in the Bible. That's what she thought. So I took her, got her phone, I made campfire out in my driveway or in my yard. I said, come on. And for 3 nights, I said, prove me wrong. I was like, I got to get to the bottom of this. I don't know what's going on with me. I can't take this to the grave. There was no way that I could be on my deathbed and never tell all of this. And then, believe me, I'll get out with you guys. I'm just scratching the surface. Like I'm telling, there's 3 books. I got 2 more books coming up. But it all happened in one go. And then, I mean, there were times it was hard. I pull over on the side of the highway and just couldn't get it together. And it wasn't until I started talking about it to people that would listen that it was like, that was the therapy. That's the trick to deal with it, is to have somebody that's not gonna, you know what I'm saying, stab you in the mouth, say, that's not true. So that's the worst thing you could do is somebody that's had contact, is try to talk them out of what they saw, what they know. And so fortunately I had a lot of people that wanted me on their podcast. That's all right. Go ahead. No, yeah. Go ahead.
I might be jumping ahead. After you get all your data that you want to get, what do you plan on doing and how do you plan on doing it without getting either thrown in jail or worse?
Great question. So we're on the cusp of a real disclosure. They already have disclosed. So they already disclosed and nobody cared. Nobody cares. It's already been on the news. Nobody cares. They already showed us UAPs going from the inside the ocean up to space in 2 minutes and back again. We have video of that. These are the F-18 pilots. It's bulletproof testimony. Nobody gives a darn about it. They've already disclosed. I'll get you Star Maker and I'll get to where I'm at now. So there it is. That's the Star Maker insignia. This is in another galaxy where this is. This is flight status. And in the book, I have the rest of the graphics where it closes. It opens. When you begin training, it's a circle with a line. And then as you progress in your training, it opens up to this is the full flight status. And then when you go to command, it turns gold. Elena Denat knew this signal as well. It said her relative, Janan Iridian, also. You can see his insignia was closed, and she had done this separately without me knowing. I drew the one on the top, and she drew the ones on the bottom. And there's no way she could have known that. I've been drawing that insignia since I was 11 years old. It's doodled on everything from my childhood. So to get it back to your question, what I plan on doing, the fastest thing I did when I was dealing with a researcher, I said, are they going to kill me? And this was real, yeah. Are they going to, am I gonna, and I had to make a decision to not be afraid of my shadow at that point, say, you know what, it's not up to me, what somebody else does to me. I need to understand if I'm gonna be afraid of telling this or not. And that was like a change, my whole life forked it, everything changed when I just quit being afraid of all my decisions. This is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. I was always, I didn't realize it until I actually stood up to that. And he said, look, the faster you become public, that's your security. Because if you go public and they kill you, that just makes it look better. So you just be a martyr at that point. The safest thing you can do is tell your story publicly. And I did in August of September. I went on nationalpolitics.org and I went on Pyramid Network on a radio show. And that was when it began. And I thought I was going to tell my story and go home. And, it's my life, which was bad. And then it was like, hey, come on my show. And I've done it ever since. And 8 years of every week, sometimes 4 or 5 a week. So I started talking to Tony is my Patreon group, and I started a remote viewing group. So back engineering what I learned. And that's where I was earlier today. I missed some of the speakers today. Sorry, I was teaching my classes. I went back to the hotel. I teach remote viewing on Patreon and talks to Tony and Tier 3. There's a remote viewing example. So that's the Menlo Center in San Jose. And you can't really see it that good on the side. That drawing is cut off, but he really did a really good job of drawing that. This is the remote viewing example. The target was my backyard of Maui. There it is. There's the front. Excuse me. So I started Motives Group, and that's remote viewing for hire. So people that lose things or for whatever reason. I was just talking earlier over breakfast. There was like a $40 billion lawsuit. They hired us to remote view evidence to find who was standing in the room. And it's turned crazy. The things that people want to remote view, and you'd be surprised how much goes on around you that is remote viewed. So there are companies that remote view where water is on land. They tell you it's a machine. They have a team of remote viewers. There are remote viewers that are doing financial things a lot. And that's how they're staying ahead of the stock market. The people are remote viewing. This was what it looked like when I was retrained from support soldier to ship engineer on Mars. There was a learning system that they plugged me into for the better part of a year. It was an adaptive media learning system, and I'm working to recreate that. I call it Maple Street Learning. That's a company I started, and we're going to come out with like a nutrition course, and it adapts. So not everybody here wants to read, and not everybody here wants to watch a video. The software will sort that out, which one you prefer, and feed you the information that you digest quicker. And that's adaptive media. That's how they did it on Mars. And then Tier 3 is a remote influencing. It's a synchronized meditation with a target remote influencing group that I started. It's been successful. I think that's it. That's it for now. Is that good? All right. I ran quick, very quick. That was the Austin side. Thanks, you guys. I just want to say I've learned a lot from your culture and from being here, and I'm deeply honored for you to have me here and from what I've learned and from with you. So I just want to finish on that I'm blown away by this. Thanks, Nikki.
Okay.
Where's the crew?
Isn't there a disclosure act before Congress that has to be addressed? And I believe there's no.
They got beat up. I think the last version of it got beat up. But hold on to your hat. Congress ain't what it used to be a week ago. So the original one. And I always say that, but there's no savior as far as disclosure and the government. They're not fighting for you. They're fighting also. The Disclosure Act that's been going on in government. And I was saying that the book Space Force by Dr. Salla details how the creation of the Space Force happened. And that it was, here we go, walk it. I don't know. Thanks, man. I'll have this. In the book, he explains that Kennedy tried to disband the CIA and move all their space assets into the NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office. And Kennedy got shot. And the CIA did give all their assets to the NRO, and then they took the NRO over. So the Gemini program put space stations in orbit. The CIA, through the Gemini program, had three rotating bases in space with 24/7 surveillance of the globe in 1972. So they were making, the budget for the CIA is something like $80 million a year. And after 9/11, they got audited and found out that they had been spending over 1.1 trillion a year. And they have a complete space program. The secret space program on that level is real. But they were the ones stopping the Space Force from getting off the ground. So pun intended. But since that was the Trump administration that started the Space Force and got it through at the last minute. So now he's back in office, and we're going to see a lot of changes in the way that the possibilities for disclosure. So we live in weird times, and whatever. I don't want to go too far in my opinions, but they've already disclosed. They're going to really disclose in your face. Up your face. So,
Oh, no. I saw the guys yesterday not cursing on purpose. I'm not gonna be the first. I might have set a precedent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tony. That was absolutely amazing. You really opened up the door to so many more questions. I know my mind is spinning right now with all that information. So thank you so much for sharing it. We're going to take a little bit of a dinner break. We are running a little bit behind. But the ladies here are almost ready. Tonight for dinner is Indian beef taco with fry bread. That is $15. Our vegan option is on their way right now, and I do not have the details as to what her option is. So as soon as we know that, we will announce that. But, take a few moments, take a little break, walk around, talk to a few people. If you have some questions for Tony, please make sure that you see him. And when the ladies are ready to go, they're going to open up the windows for us. So we'll have dinner, and then we will meet back here around 7-ish for CozmikSpirit.
CozmikSpirit says she are doing.
Oh, well, CozmikSpirit is going to do a dinner show.
Let's ask Nikki first. Nikki, is it okay if CozmikSpirit does a dinner show? Yeah. And she's just on now? Okay.
Okay. Excited about dinner. I to settle down and listen while you eat your food. Anyway, CozmikSpirit.
Oh, I guess you need. I'm gonna sing songs.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for having me, Nikki. I appreciate you and everybody who's a part of this. Thank you so much for coming together and sharing this sacred space. It's such a beautiful experience and an honor to be here. Thank you so much. So I do conscious hip hop, and I channel my higher self, and I write light codes onto instrumentals, and it's pretty divine, beautiful.
And, I will, this song's called Energy. It's about protecting your energy. Of a little girl with a simple rock game, and this is the bride, and we flash, still we, two bare feet up on the pavement, grasping down, we won't pray, into the sky, I'm on my knees, in the ditch, in the bring on me, into the breeze, like I see love, and see, but I hope to keep alive, and ride, yeah, come on down, he's ready to go, see, for families, looking at our land, yeah, been on the virgin of the ways of you, never saw the virgin, you know, I know how to dress, T.O.D. is criminal, I'm in the breeze, protect me from the way else in the wind, our residents are representing in the wind, all my relations, even cases is related, my whole thing, from the ground up, building energy, in the flesh, reality, walk starting to come up, bringing my energy, feeling so proud, whether it's all saying, it's like I don't, I mean, no, so it's a piece of good. You feel the blow in the Spanish, go, just like it's happening. I've been there, see the love in my eyes, fatigue, life, my energy, my energy, my energy, my energy. I'm prepared to have, I've been there, see the love in my eyes, fatigue, life, my energy, my energy, my energy, my energy. I'm right. Practice every day, love is making the time like moving this energy. Say it's with some family, expertise. Fly, you can say I'm federally, heavenly. I can see this world like a treasure piece. Especially, making difference in the essence in my empathy. Nothing from my head, bring my rain, see what's what the future recipe. No one is secondly, it's sensitive. Time was the world. Bring them ready, hope, fish, gather, now which go away. I can take the second order to create way. I just said, even if it's the way of the only place in general, you guys are mind breaking. It's like a human talking to the me and get the dig. Thought it's like to win the dish or play into a kid. Persistence, thought it could have waited, now I'm letting citizen. You can push down to the wicked, secret, guarding of the light, giving this the village. Moving to the light like the killers to the village. If you know about that, I don't even try to say this shit. Play around the game and never wrong and strength. What do you say, but never who wants to know get to make a run to love rest. Yo, so this next song is a collaboration I got with Rolling God. It's out of Portland, Oregon. Yeah, that's a Portland. I just might find freedom, like despite these trying times, I find the way arise. They despise our light. We shine, it's bright inside my peace within. Take you for a spin and a space. We could all win. I promise you, I could ease your mind. Take that obedience and make you feel right. You're alright this time around. We roll with knowledge we got. We know for a stroke on the town. Grounded on nothing first place. Your universe, it's always the perfect. But with nature, nurture love. Our fighting skills are colors. We power it up, but I'll take more. I'm making you what you're doing in for our hearts only. And I know we've been here before. Give me something to believe in. Thinking these raw emotions. In my body, my mind, my spirit is in alignment. I'll pass that real side. It's righteous love. I'm just thankful you showed up. Grateful for your trust. Thanks for believing in me. First, yeah, I'm believing you. Not just you flower and bloom. You are the brightest star in the room. I know feeling it, you know, I'm feeling it, the shit in the room, yeah, the lowest of blue. We grow in the view, we lower the view, rain and sunshine, go in the truth. Someone's blue, hazy, lady, and they move the lady, lady, love on sight, get a right over and over, you will get out, you crash, you know your son. I tell my your mom the way you turn them door. You never took us. Yeah, you turn like a girl. You know it's good. I don't be slow. Nothing but yeah, from the free flow. We grow in respect. No the people. I see rose in the better time. You know you let the blame people change you. You can lie to the water. I feel your love. Don't you just say bring it to you know see that. That's Andy on our album. It's gonna be coming out next year sometime. But it's my bridges and it's gonna be really powerful and so excited to hear it album. Make you smile. But really good, no, we got it here. I know it's a little bit more potent, even though the higher, more it was still big. Just love costs a ton of money, the poor, the price, it's not really. It'll be great because they want to give you a man, not a cent you do with it. Just like you I did. I'm like a little piece with a full piece of over sheet of free speech. I just keep getting something in the speech. Even that, me, no stitches. All I had to do was looking, so when you all I was there with putting bones, and the colors of the roller getting too high. The way you took my breath, took me by surprise. My ass full of sand, I was really thin, then you get in the pin, so you take it like a bread of snake. I've been thinking right there. I get it, but somebody would be my bed, and would you be my bed? No, would you be in my world? I've been thinking like that. I get it, but somebody would be my baby, would you be my baby? Yeah. Me and them, where I've been judging about the little wings so bad, guess it's better than the middle of it, at the power, he had me bitch, never know it as a beat, so we be trapped, but in the deep, when I'm the quality, say, hey, don't be dead, don't you know, real, there wasn't so much, you know, certain from all the skills, the rest of this house, they give a world, that hurt for me, and then you couldn't get it, you're supposed to be the one that you feel sitting down there. I'm still talking about it like a way to be up to this guy. Like a way to be up to this guy. I'm thinking like that. Okay, it's supposed to be in my taking it with you in my yeah, could you be in my world? I'm thinking like that. Again, it's supposed to be in my We're sitting, yes, it's enjoying the moment, so I'm already out. What kind of deal, feel the pain, be a benefit. Still got to do for the hang of instead. I'm in the bed, sweet, I'm a top of love, thank you for that. Black feet, I'm the baby, and everything. When you super good, to understand, realize that I believe a lot of reality, of reality, over time. Second source, to the fire, and sales to the morning. Times, how you dreams, see the kids, and see what you feel free. Don't see, don't hang up and put it through. I'm sorry, I love you. One time, yeah, when you switch up hands, really got me on the gas, because you know you really have. When you never really hold the direction, you can go up. I get it, first of all, you are best bed, which is you know that. I got the end like that. I get it, first of all, you know that. So this next song, it's called How I Heal. And it's in 432 hertz. I've been experimenting with, getting for disease with my music because I feel called to do that more and more. So thank you. But yeah, How I Heal. I'm living this life from height. Never said yes, no objection is fight. My side shine. To the left and the right, open wide. Forward over this night. Think of my bottom time. What's like a force sign in the world? You will find it's a method you will line. See your prize in the skies. They provided vast from the darkness in the light. You think how the outcome of off the prison on me. We were born in me. You want to see is reaching the revelation. The feeling to me to see is teaching. Leading is free. You know the best is the love. And I'm revealing the peace. Why does it go into the night to see? I see recognize that I will be the change I see. Breathing in there, never doubt. You drugs and prayer, never underestimate the power that you never felt. This is how I hear. When the song is growing so I feel. This is how I hear. This is how I hear. When the song is growing so I feel. This is how I hear. This is how I hear. When the song is growing so I feel. This is how I hear. This is how I hear. When the song is growing so I feel. When it's clean, it's my thoughts at the break of the chain. Disengage, working through the light, bits of my shame. Let it go, baby. No, the road you mold, shaking your brain. Be more like a shit and culture design. I'm not saying I'm perfect. This is my life on the earth. It's so imperfect. It's perfect. But what's a human thing? Something in that one of the rich. Sacrifice your body bread. Take your body, put it around, shooting into those good times. Has to do the making existence and convince us. It's in the references. It's all that good. Every secret is the lucky giving. We're going to balance out the challenge. Let me go. What is the story? I will paint a picture like I'm perfect and I'm always right. People having large side, they share with high. Shall I work and night? I'm teaching my life. Doing something for the lives. I don't person to play. I just feel a true mind. I was calling the device to my feel. This is how I hear. This is how I hear. I was calling the device to my feel. This is how I hear. This is how I hear. I was calling the device to my feel. This is how I hear. This is how I hear. I was calling the device to my feel. This is how I hear. This song is called Darkness Before Dawn. It's about healing my drug addiction. Well, it took me to be the person I am today. When I hate it, nothing else. How to come in my home zone is how to let myself. Keep it safe, yeah. I told the lies that live in town. Only be able to come in and help. Tell that to when you're in self project. That to me, he's a double from yourself. Everyone is watching them. Someone has to need help. Talking shit. I do my bed, yeah. I walk and leave. Even in my darkest days, yeah. I'm hard to see. Yeah, we are socially. The police sweeps up the 5 days a week. Soon to heal. My mind won't breathe. The food to eat. The lights no thing to see. And tired of the bed. I finally so happily. I'm just with you. Celebrating difference in the big me. It's what I had to leave. And get on my letter and stop the dream. The constant things of this love. So hold it down. I'm sticks and makes the sun. Down the water. If you find it's so flat, the devil now receive love. It's you and Lord is we came to please you, receive love. Yes, it's you, yes, you came to praise you. That's why you have to go to the last of shoes. It's such a living here. I had to make it on my fears. I didn't know it's road and go, so I followed the flow. I knew that the Lord you be count on my home. What did you do? Practice thinking all over the throne. From out the trees, long days, where I go. Then I kind of hang out, I was working at a pocket ball. So my last time I was recording the strap song. Put it up, from the fence, when it wakes up, nice up. I try to listening, face up. The race flow, you can get so really bad. Over time, when you can, you can never remain stuck. You know, blue things that bar, I brought the break. To bring the human demons, drakes and find the shades. As you shall receive, over trying to break the free. I'll plant the seed, I'll plant the seed. Which language is so full of down. How sticks and makes us come down on the water. Only feels like this, it's all flat. Anything that we got, big drugs. It's you, the darkness, we came to. Friends, you, receive love. It's you, the darkness, we came to. Friends, now. That's why I lose it. It's for people who feel sad. Because I don't always like to feel sad. I always like that suicidal life. And I just want to get at home that new inspiration. That really can follow your dreams. And honestly, these moments right here are so inspiring. Because it shows us that we can beautify together. And that's what this trying to stop us to do. It's a united. You already know this is easy around us. You get to come, and I love you guys so much. And thank you for giving this opportunity. Because love is all we have. Love is the only thing that's real, you know? So, I love you guys, and thank you so much. As well as it's not a word right now. Let's put full flat on the devil to be close. It's true, it's darkness we came to transmute, receive love. Yes, it's true, it's darkness we came to transmute. CozmikSpirit, baby. This is the sound of you. All we got is each other. Thank you so much. I got a few more songs for you. So this is one of my favorites. I wrote this after a breakup and I was in a really dark place. So it was a very difficult song. It showed me how you transmute all that sadness in creation. Heal from it. Put it out, it's how it felt to me.
This song's called Fairy Tale. It's about falling in love and coming out of the negative mindset. I have the stream, people are representing, I think we're seeing some of this, and we're gonna do crazy. They come, waistline, they see, we are smooth, baseline is point. Let's get the rhythm, kid, bros. Let's go over the street, ready. The frequency, somebody getting street, that's anything you see. See from the heart, tell a lie, and drive by. Never can't get enough. What? See from the heart, tell a lie, and drive by. Never can't get enough. See from the heart, tell a lie, and drive by. Never can't get enough. And so you feel like it, my please. You think it's me, but then I feel you in the asshole, then I see. So then he goes to the music, I love you guys so much. So I got two more songs. This one, so this is my new one called Hold You Close. And it's a love song. Especially song. It's like I'm going to a road. I know how it goes. Every time I suppose when it's vision in the music, and I'm having you go and we're slow the most information could be the front part of the roots and nothing the looms on yours. Here we go. Condition for the couch, here we go. We don't want here to grow. Fingers slow, hands and mouth will say we go. I'll make it wrong. This is it's not you and me. Baby, we were never long. You really wait. Optimistic. Accessibility to the city is nourishing my flourishing around. The right place, listen to the state of gonna be so safe, heading down. Nevertheless, I'm blessed and solitude. I'll follow you. When they night at the room, king of that shit. You like it, I'm glad that they were screaming. Yes, and got your ponies, like the rest of its backs. And then she got heavy shit, set to the vine, something on that, something her out, live out. So I got one more boy. I'm gonna switch up the vibe a little bit. And there's healing frequencies in the song. It is a hybrid bass project that I have with a producer out in Portland, Oregon. His name's Ryan Lane. This song is Chief Boy on his blood. Called Spirit Guys. Which we can do each time, but this one is stupid. But I'm back up and I'm talking to ecstasy. I'm so glad we got the name of up and said, we don't see the gas. We ain't even mind. I'm so stupid. I'm not to see them yet. See my highest video. You know, I'm there. I'm telling me protection. That was fun. I'll be saying, I'm so cheap. I'm being fun. I'll be brain. Yo, I'm freaking this whole week. I'm not really play. I'm talking play. I'm free from play. That was something. Always I know that I'll be okay. I know. You know it's fucking like when the weekend grab and do it, you know, just please. I appreciate you. My name's CozmikSpirit. Thank you so much, Ruby. Thank you so much, everybody. For sharing this with us. Really appreciate you. I got some stickers. If you guys want some CozmikSpirit stickers, they're free. So, yeah, thank you so much. And I'm going to get some food now. And, love no less. Appreciate you. I have to say that Chief of my ego, he loved Liz's music and invited her to several Star Knowledge conferences. she only could make it to the Serpent Mound Star Knowledge conferences, but what was it? Tell me that story. What was that story you had about him? When you people are telling stories about you. Well, Terry asked me to, I was in a side project called Ohio Pranksters, and we would take gangster party by Tupac and Snoop. We would take stuff like that and transmit it into the prankster party and make it love, out at music festivals and stuff. So it was this huge little project. It was fun, a lot of fun. So Terry asked me and Hugh to play, which was Ohio Pranksters. So. And so we were there and so I didn't know the sheets in the back with the sound guy because he didn't have this, headrest on there. I was kind of nervous because oh man, I hope you liked it. And I was all in my head about it. And oh my gosh, he's so sad. And he come up to me afterwards and he said, "You're really good." He said, "You have a lot of talent." And it just made me feel super good. And then he asked me if I could play at the 11 conference out in Colorado. And I wasn't unfortunately able to make it in, but it was a really good experience. And I got that compliment from you because I was just like, oh, thank you, and so, and then when I wrote that last song, Spirit Gods, I just felt this feeling that she was with me. And that's where I got the hero song, and it was just in the spirit. I read the song probably like 10 minutes. So, that's how the magic happens. You just quit. You can stew on a song for 3, 4, 5 days, but then when you have, super magical, it's right in 30 minutes. So, yeah, it was one of those songs that was really beautiful. And that's how I really connected with spirit in my music. Like I always do, but that time it was super special. Really cool. So, that's good. Thank you guys. I want you to see.
When you started singing this recovery song, but she's a singer, and so she started her journey around and singing. So, and I just you guys generate just trips me out. That journey.
CozmikSpirit, wasn't that great?
Do you know where
Thank you. Okay, tomorrow morning, we probably go when we get to come back here, 8:30 for breakfast, and at 10 a.m. is Will and Grace, Patricia Tate. We'll have an astrology session. Educator and consultant.
I already love Heather, they got me all excited.
So, starting tomorrow, there are a couple of changes, just so everyone knows. As Rhonda just stated, 8:30 is breakfast, 10 o'clock is astrology with Willow Grace, 11 a.m. is Grandmother Silver Star. Grandmother Silver Star is going to be taking us through lunch. So we please be incredibly mindful when it's lunchtime to really quiet things. And grab your lunch and then come back because grandmother's going to be doing a teaching. So we're going to run all the way through lunch. You'll still have an opportunity to get your lunch. And then at 1 o'clock, we have Laura Sa, Pele, Latoya, Ava, and friends. So we will have 4 speakers in that next 2-hour period. And then we will have our closing ceremony at 3 p.m. with Terry Rivera. He's a video. And that's it. So we'll see you all tomorrow. We have a jam-packed day. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And we'll see you in the morning. All right, safe travels. Good night. We love you. Oh.
we can get this up. Oh, gold.
Yeah.
So, your cousins. Your cousins, you don't, it's my mother. Yeah. Awesome. No, because we're all like.
I know.
Yeah. Well, no,
Oh, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Love a cigarette.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of girls too. I'm trying to bring the girls on. Together. Let me try getting the exact same thing.